Oh, good. Pete says we are ready to go. Yes. Good afternoon, everybody. The story that is actually, let me just quickly double check sound. I think we should be okay. I'm going to show you. We have some big developments here. Day 13, search for Nancy Guthrie. We are right on the ground. I'm going to show you actually where we are. Let me just double check, but I think okay. Yep. Sounds good. You can see the house behind me. I like this shot. Okay. And we're good. Now let me actually I want to just flip it around as we're getting set up here, everybody. Um, hey, and it rained. Oh, I've never been so excited for rain. Okay, so there's the house. The pool people are actually here today. Yes, it is morning here, but it's afternoon there. We're going to officially start just a couple moments, like everybody to kind of, as I like to say, file in. So let me, okay, we are live right now on Facebook. Thank you very, Lynn. Yeah, the cactus are tremendous, aren't they? It's so different. The landscape, I'll tell you, it's really growing on me. We got a big weekend ahead. I had dinner last night, and the manager said, "Are you in here? Are you in town for the fossil show?" You know, actually, I am in town for the Fossil and Rock show. Why not? It is so wild. Folks, share that you are watching. Also, for all of our very generous star senders, keep in mind. Oh, by the way, it's like tent city now. Everyone's got the tents up. But please, I hope everyone sends some stars. If you're on YouTube, yes. It's just 10:03. We're going to officially start in just 3 minutes. But that is Nancy's house. Now, the reason I do stay up here during this time is just out of the fray. We seem to have better luck with the Wi-Fi. It gets a little iffy, a little lagging as we get closer. Excuse me, everybody. Let me just see this. Okay. Also, I might as well mention, I think this goes without saying, but we'll we will have weekend coverage. I'm not going anywhere. This is day 13. This is day 13. And it's day 13, and we have some developments. Yes. Right now, here in Tucson, in the Catalina foothills, which I've never been to, we're about 100 miles from the border. It's a beautiful section of the country. You know, I feel terrible. Nancy was enjoying what a wonderful life, still, until this happened, obviously. We still are hopeful, but living in a really desirable section. This is day 13, and we are going to have weekend coverage. Make sure you follow if you're on YouTube as we continue to expand there. Facebook has really blown up. I can't believe well, maybe I can, with everybody on Facebook. And then also both our, TikTok and Instagram are also really incredible. So we're going to officially start in just about a minute. But what you're looking at, and you can see down below, it's like tent city down there and the rain is great. See that R? No, that's K9. That's 9K. Right, that's the local TV station right there. And then you see the trucks in front. That is the home of Nancy Guthrie. And for whatever reason, they're filming. I think it's like the pool guide. Look how the camera's right there. People are just looking for anything to film. All right, we're going to begin. Folks, again, as we kick everything off on this day 13 coverage, Well, let me say this, and I don't want to get off. What a joke this is. Listen, this is a very unusual Colleen Moody Levesque. Colleen Moody Levesque decides that it's a joke. Well, first of all, I'm going to address that. You know, they can always, there's some obvious things here. The obvious thing is like no one's forcing anyone for the coverage. No one is forcing anyone to watch any of the coverage, as a matter of fact. So, but let me just address that. And you got to understand, this is a highly unusual, especially when you have a case of this magnitude. And I'll explain it again. And I don't know who that individual is. So that's right. Mayor Hopkins is here. Well, they'd do better. The sheriff's under fire. But folks, we have video up on the website, depetro.com. You can see, and I've been texting with Mayor Hopkins. I passed that along to one of the agents. And so that is appreciated. And I'll share, I spoke with Commander Padalano the other night. He had some very good insight that I also passed along. But I want to just explain the unusual notion of this whole thing, and what makes this so different is it's so rare to have someone 84 years old abducted. I mean, she was in the house and now all of a sudden she's gone. Okay. And it also happens to be the daughter of Savannah Guthrie. But we could put out, I want to use someone who's no longer on the air, but let's just say someone like, remember Karen Adams was on Channel 12. Picture of Karen Adams. I don't know her parents, but picture if Karen Adams was still on Channel 12 and her mother lived in Rhode Island and suddenly her 84-year-old mother was abducted. You don't think that would be a story? It'd be a huge story. Of course it'd be a story. So, and this is, so many people watch a lot of, they call it the true crime on Netflix, and people are fascinated by it. With the case in Idaho with Brian Kohlberger, that also had tremendous interest. Why? Because it's unscripted, it's live, it's a mystery. No one knows where this is going. It's taking different twists and turns. And you have an 84-year-old woman at stake. I really resent anyone that says the life of an 84-year-old woman is a joke. Every life matters. And you could, if you feel differently, you know what the good news is, Colleen? You don't have to follow the coverage. You don't have to watch my coverage. You don't have to watch anyone's coverage. You can do whatever you want. But to say that people trying to find and save the life of an 84-year-old woman is not important or not a joke, that how more insensitive can you be? So, all right, I want to stay on track, and because there are some developments of the case and some big developments, as a matter of fact. Folks, as I said, again, we have a lot of video up. We were live yesterday. So if you check out depetro.com, you can see a lot of the, well, I think you mean roped off, Joanne. Well, the feds have processed the scene at this point. People may want to be cautious about some of their wording. But I want to stay on track here because we do have some developments. And I'm not just going to, I assure you right now, we're live on AM 1380, 99.9 FM. Now, we're also live on Facebook, and we're live on YouTube, and we're also live on X. And I realize we have a lot of new people. I'm going to go ahead. I'm not going to stand here. A lot of people, I want to say this as respectfully as I can, but a lot of people that are asking questions are people that the information is out there and you need to, oh, hold on. Let me just check this. Okay. That's not what I thought it was. Um, this is, we are fluid. We're on the ground. And I don't know why those people are following that person, but what we are focusing on right now is new developments in the case. If you need to get caught up on the case, I suggest you do it. But this is not here to play nursemaid, not here to just, if you're not up on the case, you've come to the wrong spot, because we're not going to just keep reiterating. The purpose, what we're going to do over the next hour is new developments, new information on the case. This portion of our program, though, is brought to you by Propane Plus. Always online at propaneplus.com. Call them in Rhode Island if you use propane 401 885 4209, and in Massachusetts 508 252 3359 for Propane Plus. So we've learned, and also again, DePietro.com, brought to you by the Coesit Inn, 226 Coesit Avenue in West Warwick. We learned overnight that they did find a glove inside, right there. You're looking at it, the brick, Nancy Guthrie's home. They did find a glove. The FBI has also now calling the person a suspect. And they have released Nancy Guthrie, disappearance suspect, a male, 5'9" to 5'10", average build, wearing a black 2.5 liter Ozark Trail hiker backpack that apparently are very, very common. So, and there's the individual, and this is different that they are now calling that person. They're now, and I know some people may not get that, but it is different that they're calling this person a suspect. So, and they don't come to that lightly. But this individual that was standing right in that doorway on that Saturday night, they, FBI and the sheriff, they want to talk to that individual, and they're now using the term suspect. Now, TMZ, there's some other outlets as well. TMZ, well, but many times, and there's a lot of drones up in the air today. Many times they just may say there's a person of interest. And many times they may say that there's someone they just want to talk to. Again, I want to refer to the Brown University situation where you had at Brown University, they had someone, they said that person was not a person of interest suspect, but they wanted to talk to him. And it was someone that had an encounter. But TMZ has new video out. And if you've been following the case, there's also, and I've been hearing this for a while as well, that we're right above the Fox drone. That's the Fox News drone. For those that are watching, you're gonna see and watch it come land. Nice little visual here as we're doing it. Watch, you're gonna see it enter, and okay, there is the Fox News drone that you see. Look how they have it land right on the pad for those that are watching our coverage. And boom, look at that. So TMZ has this. This was video that was on a Ring camera that had been posted. And I think this is really important. Watch this individual. And again, I'm discovering different accounts. This was on someone's porch, Ring camera. And watch when the individual, look at him reaching down and trying to block the camera. So that is new. And I saw that last night. And then TMZ has also put that out. So the week before what happened with Nancy Guthrie and her abduction, that man showed up on someone's porch around 3:30 and then returned again at 5 a.m., prompting a concerned Ring user to post about it on the neighbor's app. The home is 6 miles from Nancy Guthrie. Now, again, I don't know if it's the same individual. I know some people have been doing like side by sides and trying to link if they're the same. But some of the latest in the controversy. So this is, I think this is interesting. This is the video I just showed you. This is a close up of, and they're really going in on the eyes. Look at the eyes of that individual. And now watch, here is the person through a ski mask that was on Nancy, who they believe is involved. Hi there, Harriet Brown. I don't know. Is it the same person? The reward is $100,000. And the FBI did, in fact, raise the reward. So, I want to just stay. And again, right now, we are, let me just find this search. Look how they just get a new battery because the drones can't stay up that long. And then they just shoot another one up. FBI released the description. So that's different 59510 average build. The backpack, as I've said, the reward's now 100,000. Now, there's been a lot of talk about that and Reuters news service reported that they're saying that the sheriff has been withholding information from the feds. And he went so much. Now that's Chris Nanos, the sheriff, and it becomes territorial. And he did not, in fact, like that they had that the FPI came in. He's given in one press conference, he said, "Hey, I'm glad of any help I have." The FBI said he never even called them. He sent, instead of going to Quantico, it's been reported he sent a glove to be examined at a Florida lab. I mean, the whole thing is very, very odd and very, yeah. And I understand why people would say, like, a private lab in Florida has worked with the sheriff's department for years, is analyzing the DNA profiles from the crime scene. But if you were watching, and I want to, the coverage I think has been really tremendous, and someone that I think I've been watching. If you haven't been watching the first half hour, Hannity, he's again, he'll have on, and again, good morning, everybody. He'll have on Harvey Levin, he'll have on Nancy Grace. Nancy Grace was saying that with DNA, there can be a limit of how much DNA you can take off of an item. So it's very possible, and she wondered, Nancy Grace, who I like and know and respect, that what is it's possible you can't just keep reusing something. So they definitely have DNA in the house. That is new, that they found a glove inside the house. So there's the person that they're trying to find. And I can tell you, they're using what's so unusual, and why I think a lot of people are down about the sheriff is he is the one. If the FBI had not, they're the ones that pulled that image. They have the best tech people going. The FBI, think of the cases that they have solved, from Lockerbie, Scotland to, the FBI. I mean, I think we can all agree they're the finest investigative agency. I don't think people realize in the world. If you've ever seen the movie The Kingdom with, and they highlight that and talk about that. So the idea that you would not utilize that, I can tell you with the Brown University situation that we had, that the locals, okay, initially they did make a mistake with the person, as far as the feds did, the person that was detained, but he was the person in Coventry, but he did have weapons, and it was, a little bit sketchy. So I can't imagine not utilizing that. And I think the most important thing, and Mayor Hopkins, I think, would back me up on this. Cranston Police, listen, as you guys know, I mean, I think Cranston Police are just fantastic, but they don't have all the tools that the FBI has. The FBI has a to they just, and it's not that Cranston Police, they don't know how to use it. It's the equipment to get is very expensive. The equipment to get, they don't use them on the type of cases. So this is stuff you need with satellites and cell towers. They have the ability with cameras and go into a cloud, and that's how they were able to, find some of the footage. So it seems that sheriff, and as I had mentioned, how that's the sheriff that went to the basketball game, and I know some people are saying, "Hey, everybody needs a break," but I don't know if that was the time to take the break. I do want to show you, and I just saw this morning as I was parking to get over here. And these are all over um, this neighborhood, and it's neighbors posting these yellow ribbons, and it's just the neighbors. This, as I said, folks, where we are right now, the Catalina foothills. It's just such a beautiful area, and you have an 84-year-old woman abducted from her home. I also, where's the I have another photo that I took. This is, I mean, look how different this is. This to me is a real photo where they have the yellow ribbon around the cat and also obviously on the gate. So, and I know there's a local TV station, and we may go there over the weekend, but they have a sign put out that people can come and sign, bring her home, and that's at the TV station, and people are going and signing the sign. So my point is, folks, is a lot of people, it's just such a, you've seen the people that have come up. This is a very desirable place to live. It is people of means. It's very peaceful. It's very tranquil. I know, initially I was even saying, like, how do they operate without streetlights? But it's, I'll tell you, the desert is pretty, I see the appeal. I see the appeal. Now, I also want to mention on this day 13 about Capitol Fence. More and more people. I met a realtor and told me that interest in gated communities is huge right now as a result of this. And this story has also struck a chord with people where, that live separate from their parents and the elderly parent that lives alone. And Capitol Fence, call owner Mike Rizzo, call him. They're based right in Cranston, 401 618 4407, residential or commercial, Capitol Fence. A fence around your property, it adds a layer of privacy, it adds a layer of protection. Capitol Fence, the most trusted for privacy and security, serving Rhode Island and Massachusetts for repair and maintenance, highest quality, installation, durable, free estimate. Call my friend, owner Mike Rizzo today. Capitol Fence for your pet, for a child. Call them 401 618 4407, always online at capitalfenceri.com. Speaking of, I did want to also just quickly mention, and I know that I'm out here and it's day 13, but this story in Coventry with this Michael Bisol, who has been charged felony. What kind of individual? See those three puppies? There were four. And because of his negligence, it was the death of a puppy, and the other three were taken from him. Folks, what is wrong with people if you can't take care of these animals? Don't get these animals. Now, again, I fully aware that we are focused on the Guthrie investigation, and it is day 13. I want to just President Trump. Now, oh, okay, that's interesting. A woman came over to speak with a deputy. So I think this is interesting, and I want to remind people. So this is big. And if this is true, this could be a game changer. We don't know. But right now, you can't rule anything out. As much as they're saying whoever did this wasn't a pro, how about this? President Trump says it's too soon to say if the cartel was involved in her disappearance. I think that is really interesting. And so the other night, I was uh, 40 miles from the border in Rio Rico. And I went south and south of there. I don't know what to make of this other than, and just, I realize, I'm not big on conspiracy. And again, it is speculation. But right now, I don't think it can be ruled out. But is it possible that it is, in fact, I don't know what to make of it other than, let me finish the thought. I don't know if you can rule out that is it possible that to make like a statement, almost like an act of terrorism, that somehow they discovered that a high profile American journalist was uh, an hour and a half from the border, the parent of a very prominent American journalist. I don't think that can be ruled out. So now again, they're now calling whoever this person is, and we've shown the video, and they're putting it out there, obviously. But the big question is what happened when that individual entered that home? And the reward now, as I mentioned, has been doubled. So as far as the situation with the sheriff, I mean, that just can't stay that way. That cannot. Um, this guy, listen, he better not be at a basketball game this weekend. Now he has not done a press briefing. He did a flurry of them, and I'll say this: I don't know the sheriff. He does enjoy a good reputation, but it's very. I just think they just haven't encountered a case like this. And as a result of that, there was certainly, and he initially admitted in a press briefing that there were definitely some missteps, to say the very least. As we have said, and again, what you're looking at is down the hill. This is what it looks like. If you live up this hill right across from Nancy Guthrie, that is her home right here in the Catalina Hills. And I'll just pan around. So here are the Catalina foot. Yeah, and I see people for people that come here, but just staying with the facts of the case, there is a lot of courage that they don't with the FBI, and I think this is very, very serious. And I saw again. I'm going to refer to Fox. They were mentioning why would you send the gloves to different, labs? Why would you do that? I think people are starting to become very, very critical of the sheriff. And this is no time, as some of the different law enforcement experts are saying, this is no time to, try to be territorial. I mean, what has to happen here is they have to locate this woman. And it is an unknown. And this is not, as we've said, this is not a movie. It's not a TV show. They're not going to solve it. Let's see. Pima County Sheriff Chris Dano spoke to Tucson TV station KVOA and says reports he's withholding evidence from the FBI not even close to the truth. Well, I'll say this: that's coming from somewhere, and it's definitely coming from somewhere. So he can say that, but if in fact they if this is coming from the FBI, and that's where I would imagine it's coming from, then I'm not sure exactly how he would then turn around and say that he's not withholding anything, because it sure sounds as though they feel that he is withholding some things. So, okay, this is also the latest from the FBI offering, as I said, $100,000 reward, information leading to the location of Nancy Guthrie arrest, conviction of anyone involved in her disappearance. So, and that is again the person that they are trying to locate. But there also, I want to also just explain where this is going today and where it's been going actually the past couple of days. If you want to see some good video, check out when we were on the ground. Again, it can be sometimes when you're live up here and everyone's dealing with Wi-Fi issues, it can be a problem, but it just kind of cuts in and out a little bit. But before I talk about where I think this is going to go, folks, this portion of our program brought to you by ServPro of Providence. Hey, get that snow off your roof. And if you, when disaster strikes, you can depend on ServPro of Providence. Call ServPro today, 401 941 5500. Water damage, fire, mold, if you have a flood, if you have a fire in your home or business, then you're going to have water damage because they need to put the water out. And you're also going to have smoke damage. And if you have water damage, all that water, a very good chance you could have mold. ServPro of Providence. Call them 401 941 5500. So, what they are, I can tell you, what they are struggling with, and maybe that's a little bit harsh, but I'll tell you, maybe a better word would be the biggest challenge from what I understand right now, that a big challenge that they are dealing with is they're trying to figure out, all right, so we have the photo of that individual who went into the residence and they abducted her. She's gone. And a glove was left behind. Why was the glove left behind? I don't know what to make of the ransom situation, but she was in there. You have the images, and then now there's not a trace of her. But what I can tell you is what they are trying to figure out, and I don't want to say they're stumped, but the most challenging thing is they can't figure out, how did they get her out of here? So they have not revealed. You keep hearing about a truck, and they keep going with some of the neighbors that they've talked to. They've talked about that they've been talking about a truck that was in the area. But I want you to think about this. Let's go back to that night, right? Let's go back to that night in her house, which is right behind me. There it is, down this hill. So it's late, and all of a sudden, that individual that you've seen is on her doorstep and he's got the weapon. And he somehow gets into the residence. I think initially they said they thought that individual had a tool on him. But then what happens? He goes in. They say that they believe the droplets of blood are from either her face or her hands. So she's bleeding. Okay, he comes out of the house with her. Stay with me. Then what? Then what? Did he pull up in a vehicle? Did he first disarm? Was it like more than one person? Did they disable the camera and then pull a vehicle up and signal, okay, bring it up? Okay, they bring her into the truck. Now what? Now what's the plan? Where did they go from there? What was the purpose of that? And you're free if you're watching right now. And again, we're live on Facebook and YouTube. A lot of people end up watching this later. You can put in the comment, where did she go from there? What was the point of that, is what I'm trying to say. Does that make sense to anyone? So then what? This isn't, how about when people are saying like Maduro was kidnapped? I mean, he really wasn't. It was our military, but I I don't know what to make of this. And I know someone would say, it can't be, yeah, is it connected to, I don't know, but just, I want you to, and again, if maybe you have thoughts on this, but that's what well, someone said, I don't think she was taken from the house. All right. I want to just mention that you're you're thinking differently than what they're thinking, because they're now establishing that the glove was inside. The person did that. Uh, so maybe I'm not going to rule anything out. If people feel what that was a ruse, she actually had not been inside, so they got her before then. But again, I come back to, but where is she, and why did they abduct her? This is, and I think this point is so clear. Because I see comments, not all, obviously, but I see people, there's so many missing people. Like, this isn't that. Do you understand? This was an abduction. She was abducted. She's not a drug addict who's on a bender somewhere. She's not a kid that ran away. She doesn't have dementia and she's wandering around. I was police who were looking for this guy. He ended up, he drove to Connecticut. Drove, sometimes it was a guy from East Providence who we were looking for. He drove to Massachusetts. That's not this. What was the motive to go into that house behind me and abduct an 84-year-old woman who happens to be the daughter of a prominent American journalist, news personality, really the face of the Today Show? And right before the Olympics, I don't, I don't know what to make of that. I don't know. I mean, I don't think anyone does right now, but that's where I think you have to. So then how, but I want to come back to, so let's say it is the white truck, because the FBI agents around here have been asking people, have you seen a white truck? Now, they haven't produced a photo of it, but people have mentioned that there was a white truck that they had seen, or I think they were being asked about it. So what is, I think it's starting to drizzle. I have an umbrella. What is the motivation for that? Who would, it is starting to rain. All right, not a problem. What would that's what I come back to, because as far as the ransom, that they're playing out the ransom notes to media. They're not playing out ransom notes to the family, saying, pay us this money. They're not sending it directly to them. They keep sending it, as I said, to media outlets. Okay. I don't mind the rain. It's not supposed to be heavy rain. It's a light drizzle and we can deal with it. And I actually am thrilled it's raining because it's been so warm. Oh, wow. Okay. So this is different. Uh, Matt Finn of Fox News he's just posting this. So Fox got through to him. Wow. All right, let's read this. Wide ranging interview with Sheriff Chris Nanos about a lot of topics. Some of the highlights: he tells Fox his office did not find a glove at the home. We have no glove. We never found a glove on that property. Now, I'll have to go back. Who was reporting that? Nanos claims his office has been using the same contracted private lab for decades, long before he was in office. So this is news. He's now saying there is no glove. It was widely reported yesterday they found a glove inside. He says his office started sending the Guthrie evidence to this lab from the start, and the Guthrie family DNA and the other DNA swabs are there too. So it makes sense to keep sending the incoming evidence there so the lab can immediately run the new evidence against what's already in house. He claims the FBI was on board with this. He says, why split evidence between the private lab and Quantico? We trust the FBI's crime lab. We used them before, but in this case, we started with that lab. It's that simple. Now, again, this is Matt Finn interview. It sounds like he didn't, I don't know, maybe he didn't go on camera with him. He claims they're working well together with the FBI. No reason not to seek their help. Absolutely crazy that he wouldn't use their partnership. He claims he called the FBI the next working day, the Monday after Nancy went missing, shoots down claims he was reluctant to include the FBI, and says, for example, they quickly let the FBI take the lead on the ransom notes because the FBI is better at that with their technology. On the ransom notes legitimacy, he said the FBI is the expert on that. He can't comment. On whether this is a kidnapping or something else, he says, we believe it's a kidnapping, but you always consider all possibilities. The sheriff said in a local news interview they found a few different gloves in the area some miles away. On this topic, he told Fox they're not prioritizing every glove. They're getting calls of gloves in Phoenix a long way. So, okay, every glove may not be. Nobody's ever really eliminated when asked if any has been ruled out. The Rio Rico, Arizona man who was briefly detained the other night is a delivery person who was in the area of Nancy's house, more than one. After taking, he feels satisfied with the alibi. Okay. He will not confirm to Fox if there was forced entry at the house or whether the front and back door was used. That's interesting. Her blood was found outside the home, and Nancy's DNA was recovered inside, but he can't confirm the DNA inside his blood. On the criticism that the office released the crime scene too soon, opened it up too quick, says it's not true. They got what they needed. I asked him if they should have cleaned up the blood out of sanctity. He said it's not their role. Said it's a slap on his team to say they left too soon. Also says the deputy cars out front now are the request of the family. It's not the sheriff signaling they left too soon. Allegations family members are involved. Okay, this is important. This is again Matt Finn from Fox talking with the sheriff. So let me just so we do this. Hold on, everybody. And again, it's not pouring here, but it is a allegations about the family members are involved. The family, this is from the sheriff now. The family has been fully 100% completely, whatever they asked for, we've done. It's getting crazy out there with allegations about the family. You can't accuse people of horrific crimes like that, have no facts behind it. In the same interview, he says that no one is really ever ruled out as of today. Nanos has talked to Savannah Guthrie. He says they talked and texted, but she doesn't need to talk to the sheriff. She has people. The whole family has my number. Reports and previous incidents suggest he doesn't have a good relationship with the FBI. He said, you Google what you want. I've got no response. I've always had a good relationship. They're good people. All right. So this is important because this is the sheriff breaking his silence. Now, I don't see no Fox of this. So it's very possible. My experience would tell me the sheriff agreed to do the interview with Fox. And I would imagine, Fox, number one, they're number one in news, but number two, here in Tucson, the Arizona area, it's like another level. Okay. One thing I'll say about this area, folks, there's no wokeness. I mean, there's some people that are definitely maybe a little blue, but you don't have the nonsense that we deal with in the Northeast, that's for sure. But it sounds to me at first blush that he agreed to talk to them on the record, but he just didn't want video of it. So maybe he's going to grant other interviews, but that's big. Now, again, people are speculating, I've seen it all. And it started with Ashley Banfield saying the sister's a suspect, the brother-in-law. I can't tell you the number of people that have, um, sent me the brother-in-law, the Annie's husband was in a band and blah blah. I get all that. I've been getting all that stuff. But okay, so let's call it what it is. This is at 44 minutes past the hour. This is a big coup for Fox that they got. It shouldn't be, by the way, but that's the first time he's talked to anyone in a while. So now, last night, I'm not criticizing them, but boy, I was watching Hannity and then saw Trace Gallagher, who's here, and they were all over saying that they found a glove in the house. That was almost becoming, like an accepted thing. Now they're saying they didn't find a glove in the house. So it sits there. All right, couple of reminders. At some point, I am well aware that everybody is dealing with a lot of snow, but soon enough, it's going to look where you are in the Northeast, it's going to look like this again. And that's why you need to call Sean at Watson Materials. The most complete selection of landscape materials in Rhode Island is Watson Materials. Call Sean, request a quote 401 885 0600. They're terrific. They're the best. Make the most of your outdoors with Watson Materials. I also want to mention Lindsay Wanda, she said, I was listening to you and you mentioned alternatives to daycare. Could you please repeat that number? Yes, Lindsay, call Kids Club on the Pike, 401 443 Call Kristen 5336. Kids Club on the Pike. They do have a location right on Plainfield Pike on the Cranston Johnston line, but they have other locations. And they do before school, after school care, preschool, daycare, Kids Club on the Pike. Call Kristen. They have great social media. 401 443 5336. So I recognize that some people may not understand the significance of what I just told you about the sheriff, but I'm telling you, it's big that it would seem that now that is definitely a new development that he's giving to Fox. And it sounds as though, and this is, by the way, one of the important reasons why you talk to the media is because then otherwise, if things don't get addressed, they can spread like wildfire. So, and I also want to actually, I want to touch on. So that's a lot. That's a lot. Now, again, what they're really trying to do is figure out. I know, can Rhode Island grow these cactus? Aren't they fantastic? I'm telling you, and they are everywhere. So, and they're prickly. I can't, like, if you stumble into one of those, you go to the emergency room. Um, and you have the palm trees. I'm telling you, like the Southwest has really grown on me. I've never been in this part of the country. I've only seen it on Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad. But I also want to just touch on, so, and people need to understand. And I saw someone giving a hard time to a local TV reporter who they have been texting with the sheriff. And this person who doesn't know said, "Oh, isn't that interesting? You've just been texting with the sheriff and blah, blah, blah." Folks, that goes on all the time. And someone to say that and almost intimate like there's something wrong about it. And this person posted, "Am I the only one that thinks," their name is Gina, "is I the only one that thinks it's strange that local TV station is texting with the sheriff?" Folks, I won't give out who, but during Brown University, I was texting. First of all, I work with local police all the time. I text with local police, all different departments every day. I've been talking to them while I'm out here because many times they want to put something out. Like I'll use Cranston as an example with Linda, where then you had the Chief Colonel Winquist even, mentioned me and pointed me out and commended me actually with when Linda went missing last March. I was working with them all the time. Why? Because we were putting the word out about that. So it's a relationship that sometimes when I'm gonna try to track something down that someone sends to me, and then I'll contact them and they'll say, "No, there's nothing there. We checked into it. It didn't happen. That's not the person," like that type of thing. There's nothing, what I'm saying is there's nothing nefarious about it. So the local TV stations have been communicating with the sheriff. And there was someone on another platform who was giving one of the reporters a hard time, like, "Oh, isn't that interesting? You're texting with it." But that's like, you don't know what you're talking about. That goes on all the time. With Brown University, I wasn't just texting with police, both Providence Police and state police. Then you saw when I was talking with the federal agents, I wasn't just texting, I was talking to them off air all day into the night. At midnight, we're on the phone. And, because they know I'm putting info out. That's where, how many times you see we post, there's something, I forget who it is, that they're looking for someone. And you'll say, Warwick Police are looking for person that was seen at whatever mall or something like that, or Newport Police are looking for this person. So that's where you work with the media. There's nothing nefarious, and for someone to say, "Oh, does anyone else find it strange that a local TV reporter is texting with the sheriff?" You clearly don't know what you're talking about. And again, it's one thing if you don't know what you're talking about. I just don't know why people want to announce to everyone that they don't know what they're talking about. Now, most of the time, on during this time, talk with our friend Marie. But I'm assuming right now that she is busy, which is totally fine. But stop in and see her at It's My Health, 1099 Menden Road in Cumberland. You want to stay healthy. She has great gifts. Also, obviously, stop in and see her. It's My Health, 1099 Menden Road in Cumberland. She has things to keep you healthy. She has delicious teas and herbs and spices. She has children's vitamins, all kinds of things. It's My Health, 1099 Menden Road in Cumberland. But to me, that someone not understanding that media is texting with and communicating with law enforcement, that to me is someone that you just clearly don't understand the nature of the relationship. And what do I mean by that? I won't say who, but different. Well, I will actually say who. I've testified in court for police. Police departments have used my videos when they're going after someone. Why? Because it's separate and apart from just body cam video. Sometimes I've captured video that they want on a scene. So does that mean I'm communicating with them? Yes. Does that mean they're texting me or calling me? Yes. And I call and text them back. There's nothing. I'm trying to figure out why that's to me is just someone who's trying to see conspiracy everywhere. Oh, isn't that interesting? A local TV reporter is texting with the sheriff. Yeah, happens all the time. Happens all the time. Let me say this, if I were, yes, master of your craft. Thank you very much, Benby. I'll say this, folks. If I, um, for those of you, and let me again, I'll use example. I will use example. And when I'm addressing something directly, um, how many people How many people were watching the press briefings during the Brown University shooting? Raise your hand. Mostly everyone. They were televised nationally. And what did you notice? The police chief, the detectives, FBI, and so on, they all call me by name. Why? Because I deal with them. I could that way to, they know that I, know something or ask something. If I were based here in Tucson, I'm telling you right now, I would get a sit down with the sheriff, and from day one, would have been communicating with him back and forth. 100%. Same thing if this type of thing happened, if it was in Cranston or Providence or Woe or anything, or East Grand or anything like that, from day one. And even if they weren't talking to the media, I would still be communicating with them. So I'm trying to give insight to when someone puts, am I the only one that finds it odd that the media is texting with the sheriff? Yes, you are the only one, as a matter of fact. So, and you do that, thank you, Bendy, by building a rapport like that. And it's built, it's again, it's a relationship. That's what it is, built on trust. But the latest is there is I really want you to understand is they're trying to comb over this whole area, and they're trying to figure out how did somebody, that's what I am learning is one of the things that they are really trying to figure out is how did that person, and you do have the circular driveway, but how did they get up there, get her out of there, and where is she? It is a mystery. It is an absolute mystery. And that's why they're trying to, how is it possible? It's as if, this is like spaceship stuff. It's as if somebody landed and then they took her out and went up with footage, with people that have ring cameras. They don't have video, you would think, or they're trying to find the video. How about the people saying there was a white truck in the neighborhood? What was the white truck doing here? Why would you have a truck? You might have a truck. I'm not saying definite, but you might have a truck or a van if you're going to transport someone. If you knew that you were going to abduct someone, you might have a truck or a van, or maybe an SUV. I mean, you don't have to. I mean, you could put someone in a trunk, but what was the purpose of that? And where are they? And why did they take her? And something else that I want to just come back to is people are saying, and I've seen people, they think it was a robbery went bad. Okay, that would be if they went in and the house was ransacked, robbed, and she was lying there not breathing. Okay, then it was a robbery that went bad. But that's not what happened. The police also haven't said, or they haven't revealed, or maybe they weren't asked, but whether or not it was a robbery. Did they just go in? What I'm trying to get at, how many people, you've seen the movie Heat, um, did they, in the movie Heat, they only knock off the armored car in the beginning for the bearer bonds. They went in for the bearer bonds and they left, ignored the loose cash because they were on a clock, they didn't have time. So this is something that I haven't heard anyone mention, but I think it is really important. What does it say to you if if they only went in and and again, hypothetical, she has a safe and they don't take, the only thing they took was her. I don't know what to make of that. Is this? I'm stuck. I don't know what to make of it, and I don't know. No one seems to have an answer for that. But you have to admit that's odd. That's really unusual. What if that's the case? That they purposely was scouting this area, and they went with the intention of abducting her, Nancy Guthrie. Then what? Then what's the purpose? Is that to get back at Savannah? Is it a shot across the bow towards the United States? Does this have to do with the blowing up the boats in Venezuela? Is this with us declaring war on the cartels? Is it something else? Is it a Luigi Mangione? I mean, I think that's the way you have to look at it, which is, and I also, for those that are saying, and I know they're going to keep saying it's the brother-in-law, it's the son-in-law, excuse me, Annie's husband. But in the John Benet Ramsey case, both parents immediately lawyered up. You have the sheriff, at least the sheriff is claiming that everyone is fully cooperative. So I think I might feel differently if somehow, you know, the son-in-law, her husband had lawyered up. That has not happened. But I want you to think in terms of that. What would motivate someone? What would be the risk and reward for going into that house, abducting her, and leaving here? And and then what? And where is she? And what happened? And why did they do that? I don't know. Well, listen, thank you everybody for tuning in. Thank you to Pete. Again, this is day 13, but tune into our platforms. We're going to have coverage all weekend long. Day 13, the question remains, where is Nancy Guthrie? Thank you, everybody. All right, everybody. We're going to sign. We'll be back later. Thank you, one and all. I'll walk it out. Again, I stay up here just because the Wi-Fi can be sketchy and it can lag when we venture into the valley. So it may start to, if it does break up a little bit, that's okay. But it kind of works being up on the hill. I'm very happy with the audio quality. So we see everybody's set up at the tents because of the rain. Wonder if the tents stay because the rain was a nice reprieve. Oops, there's the son-in-law. Okay, so then you see the flowers in the front of the house. All right, everybody. We'll be back later on.